guys, welcome back. This is For the Casuals UFC MMA betting show. I'm here with my co-host Ed. My name is Fobs. We're gonna go break down UFC 301 after a week of taking a break. So yeah, we can just get started whenever you're ready to break this one down.
Oh, I'm ready. Let's get it.
Alrighty, first match of the card, we have Alexandre Costa versus Kevin Borjas. I can go ahead and break this one down. Kevin Borjas has a great punch. He can take a punch, but I think he's lacking in the grappling department. While Alexander Costa, in my opinion, is very well rounded. I like Alexander Costa in this fight just because, like I said, Kevin Borjas has a punch, can take a punch, but haven't really seen him much on the ground. And I feel like just like I know they're not the same, but just like the fight a week or 2 weeks ago, excuse me, with James Lontop, all of these Peruvian fighters are coming out basically identical, and they can take a punch, they can punch, but they can't really grapple, except for the exception, which is what's his name, Claudio Puelles, and even then, Puelles only has like a knee bar. That's about it. So I'm going with Alexander Costa. Betting purposes, I might do inside the distance, and I might take a stab at by submission at plus 550. What do you think?
Yeah, so I agree with you a lot on this. I do think Costa is pretty good. He has solid striking, has good takedown defense, and he throws a lot of power, and he's going to mix his combinations. But the only problem that I don't like about him is sometimes he throws low volume too. And Kevin Borjas, even though he lost his last fight, it was against a Joshua Van who's been looking really good. He had his moments in that fight until Van kind of took over. But like you said, I think the striking is more on Broerhaus. I think he will be the busier fighter, but I do think that Costa has the more power. And I think Costa will also be able to work his takedowns in if he gets in trouble. Out of that, I think it's probably going to be a competitive fight. But like kind of you said, some of these Peruvian guys aren't able to kind of get up, and I think Costa does have the advantage there. And I think on the striking, it will probably be more Borjas, but I think Costa has the ability to take him down and probably outwork him for the majority of this fight.
Yeah, absolutely. Not much else to say on that one, to be honest. We can move forward to Ishmael Bonfim against Bint Bichel. Bichel. Uh, Plain and simple, Vince Bichel is like 80 years old. Hasn't fought in over a year. Last fight coming in 2022, April 9th, 2022. So basically 2 years now that he hasn't fought. And it's going to be his last fight was against Mark Madsen, in which he looked pretty slow. Madsen was able to take him down. He was 3 for 3 for takedowns. So in this fight, I'm gonna be taking the Bonfim brother. Am I looking to lay minus 550 on Ishmael? Probably not. I do think he does take him out of there. Inside the distance. Inside the distance is at plus 100, even money. Excuse me. Maybe take a stab at Ishmael Bonfim by submission, because maybe if you given me like Vince Pichel in 2019 against Ishmael, or 2020, no, 2019, 2020 against Ishmael Bonfim, maybe I would take a stab. But at 41 years old, I don't think so. And even after a 2 year layoff, I was rewatching the fight against Austin Hubbard. He did look good on the striking department. Austin Hubbard was able to take him down 4 times, but didn't really do much. Like, he took him down, and then Vince Pichel like would get back up. But again, that's like 3 years ago, 3 years ago, when he was like 38, 37. Now at 41, nah, I don't think so. I think Ishmael Bonfim can get this one done. And yeah, I might take him by submission, or who knows, he just KOs him and, puts him at rest. What do you think?
Yeah, so when I was looking over at this one, Ismail Bonfim, we all know, prospect in the UFC, 4-1 in his last 5 fights. He's coming off that tough loss, but I mean, it was against Benoit Saint Denis, and we know how good that guy is. I mean, he was choked out in the first round, but I necessarily don't think that he's a fraud just because of it. I mean, I think he's still a pretty good striker. He throws a lot of wild attacks. He has power. He'll get takedowns. Has high level BJJ. I think overall he's pretty skilled and still has like a lot of potential. And like you said, Vinnick, he's 41 years old. He's closer to 80 than he is being a newborn. He does have good timing in his strikes, has some good takedown accuracy, but I just think Bonfim is probably in the better stage of his career. I think he's probably the overall better fighter, and I think he takes this one. And I like what you said about I feel like Bonfim could possibly get a submission in that plus 500. I mean, why not throw a little bit on that? Or if you think he can finish him on the feet by KO, you could take that at plus 170. So I think both of those are pretty good. I might throw a little bit on either one, but I think Bonfim is probably better in his career. He's younger. He's probably looking to get back in the win column, especially after a tough loss against a very good opponent. But I think it's pretty straightforward. I think Ismail Bonfim is the pick. And the only thing I want to see is how it plays out if it does go in the later rounds, because I think a lot of people have this notion that they don't have cardio, that they're just a 1 round, 2 round and fighter, and that's it. I would want to see how that plays out and see what kind of this fight looks like, and what does Ismail Bonfim look in the third round and nearing the end when you're tired and you're kind of fatigued. But I think overall, I think Ismail Bonfim is the smart pick. I think it's pretty simple on this one.
Yeah, absolutely. Something to note too. I mean, Bonfim is only 28, has a bunch of experience, and Vince Pichel tends to. When I was watching the Austin Hubbard fight, he tends to keep his hands slow. So that's not a good recipe if the younger guy is going to be faster. So he might like knock him down and maybe go for a submission. So that's why I was thinking submission as well. Just something to add onto that. But if you don't have anything else to add, we can go move forward. You can break the next one if you like.
Okay, yeah, I'll take the next one. So we got Dion Barbosa versus Ernesta Checkit. I guess that's what her name is. Well, anyways, Barbosa's making her UFC debut. She's 3-2 in her last 5 fights. She's currently on a 3 fight winning streak. I think she got an armbar win in the first round of the Contender Series. When I was looking over at her, she looks like a solid striker. It's not the best, but she is pretty fast, and she's also a judo practitioner, so she might look into use some hip toss and stuff like that to get the fight to the ground. She's taking on Ernesta. She's currently undefeated. I think she's like 0-1 in her whole career. I think she's gotten like 3 split decisions in a row, which is pretty wild. You don't really see that. But looking over it, she's pretty solid on the feet, good foot movement, has fast hands. She's gonna move her head. She also throws combinations and uses her distance, but she doesn't really have a ton of power. Honestly, I wouldn't bet this fight because I think Ernesta is the better striker, but I think Barbosa is also going to be able to take this fight to the ground. So it's kind of, I think, a live bet situation where if Ernesta is just lighting her up on the feet, I say you throw some down on there, or if she's taken down and not able to get back up, I think it's Barbosa all day. But at the end of the day, I just think Barbosa should be able to close the distance and get her down to the ground and kind of just wear her out throughout the fight. And probably this fight probably goes to a decision, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Ernesta's gonna try to keep this one on the feet at distance. She has the 5.5, 4.5, inch reach advantage. So she's gonna try to pick her apart. She is like you said, she's predominantly a kickboxer or a stand-up fighter, while Barbosa does do grappling, judo practitioner, like you said. 3 of her wins coming in by submission. Um, and something to note about Ernesta too, like I was trying to watch the Contender Series match again, which like I completely forgot, but the girl she faced was pretty trash. Like she was 3-0, and all her competition was against like 1-3, 2-3, and whatnot. So it's kind of hard to gauge how good Ernesta really is, and because I don't really put that much real estate on her previous opponents that she was fighting in freaking like what like Romania or whatever, like overseas. So while Barbosa on the other hand, I believe she's faced the better competition in LFA. Yes, she's faced some 5-6 and 1-1s in LFA, but at least it's something. It's a organization or promotion that we both know, and that we can be like, okay, yeah, there's a little bit name or more value to it. If I have to pick just to pick, I would probably pick Diana Barbosa, and I think this might be another situation where we can get by submission plus 215. I may take a shot at that. I may just do the first three by submission, honestly, just for a wild parlay. Uh, I would honest her KO is at plus 2,200. That's kind of wild, just because she hasn't really knocked anyone out. But and Ernesta by KO is plus 600 too. But my pick's Diana Barbosa. Not a very confident pick. Not a very pick that I'm like, yeah, this one's a lock. Yeah, I don't really like it, but it is what it is. Very unknown. Two ladies that are very unknown. Do you want to add to
Yeah,
anything
but
else?
yeah, so like you were saying at the end where you might throw in submission on all three of the first ones, I'm just saying if that were to hit, we're going to Vegas, we're taking trips around the world because at plus 12,185, that's insane odds for the first three by submission. But
Yeah.
other than that, not really much on this. I think this is probably one of the lesser exciting fights on this card. I feel that this is probably most people's bathroom breaks, but who knows? It's going to be a clash of styles and just see which one is more superior and who comes out on top.
Yeah, absolutely. You can go ahead and break this next one too. I did two in a row, so.
Yeah, okay, I got you. I didn't know we were counting. But for the next fight, we got Mauricio Rufy versus Jamie Malarkey. So basically, when I was looking over this fight, Malarkey, he just got KO'd by Nazareth in his last fight in round one. But besides that, he's pretty well rounded. He's not particularly great at everything or anything, but he's pretty well good at different stuff. He can wrestle, he has some KOs, but he's not really dangerous on the feet. But the thing about him in a fight, he is going to work hard. He's going to work through the fight and, put in that work. He's only 29, but I feel like his chin could probably be fading, especially after that nasty KO. And he's been KO'd two times in the last three fights. He's taken off on Mauricio, who's currently on a four-fight winning streak. He was able to get a round three finish on the Contender Series, and he's a good striker. He has nasty power. He has, I think, 9 stoppages in his career. He's going to throw hard kicks, and he's able to defend takedowns pretty good. Um, I'm just going over the fact that Jamie Malarkey was just KO'd. He's fighting someone who can has that power, who can possibly do that again. I think Malarkey is probably the better fighter, but I think that Mauricio is just going to be able to hit him with that shot and put him down. If I'm looking to place anything, let's see, what is Mauricio Rufy by KO? So he's at minus 120. So not the best. But if you could do it in the first round or second round, it's plus 235 in the first round or plus 425 in the second. So it might throw a little bit on that. But other than that, I think this one is Mauricio. I think just Jamie Malarkey's not that really the best fighter out there.
Yeah. Just like you said, to your point, the chin is what concerns me a lot in this fight. If you tell me that Jamie, like prime Jamie Malarkey, I don't know what that means though, shows up with a good chin and can take the hits and stuff and gets to basically avoid those hard, heavy punches, then I'll take Malarkey any day. I'll also like back him up. Probably a live entry could also be a thing. Or maybe you bet that Malarkey lasts more than one round so you can get Mauricio Rufy round two, round three. My pick would probably be Mauricio Rufy just because of the Malarkey chin situation. Don't like that he's lost by KO basically his last fight, and then the Jalen Turner fight too. He lost by KO as well on that one. So don't like that. Mauricio Rufy on the other hand, like you said, I believe in that Dana White Contender Series. He faced a grappler, and I mean, I think he did pretty good in that fight. He was the underdog in that fight, so yeah, not many people expected him to win. He has that big knockout power. I like Mauricio Rufy. I might maybe betting round two, round three, just hoping that Jamie Malarkey lasts. And yeah, we'll go from there, or maybe I'll get a live entry on Jamie. Who knows? I'll still have to see on who I want to pick for betting purposes. But Mauricio Rufy, if I had to pick, just to pick, pretty fair.
And I think it's pretty fair. And not only that, what do you mean? Prime Jamie Malarkey is him beating Michael Johnson by split decision, or shoot, even better, him getting KO'd by Jalen Turner. That's prime Jamie Malarkey. But no, but honestly, that KO against Nazareth was pretty bad. So it's kind of a big question: is he going to be able to take those shots again? Because, like you said, and he's been knocked out a good amount of times in his career. Usually So I don't know if his chin is going to be the same. Some fighters are never the same, but I think it's pretty straightforward. Mauricio Rufy. I can start the next one if you want, or if you want, it's
Yeah,
all up
you
to
can
you.
go ahead. I
Yeah,
don't care.
you can go ahead. I don't care.
Okay, so the next fight we got Joaquim Silva versus Derek Close. It's crazy because me and you actually saw both of these guys fight live the last time both of them fought because they were both fighting in UFC Austin. Basically Silva 2-3 in his last 5 fights. He's coming off that win against Clay Guida. He really didn't look impressive in that fight. I feel like he did what he had to do, but it wasn't some type of amazing performance to brag about. Besides that, I think he is a dangerous fighter, but at 35 years old, he does kind of fade in the fight the longer it goes. But he does have that knockout power. We remember he almost knocked out Armin out of his socks or his shorts. He does have high level BJJ, but not really doesn't use it or try to get takedowns. He kind of used it in the Clay Guida fight where he was kind of controlling him a lot. He's taking on Derek Close. He's 4-1 in his last 5 fights. He's coming off that round one slam of Joe Selecki, where I think both of our jaws dropped, and I think the whole arena's jaw dropped whenever that happened. The thing that's crazy to me is that this guy is 36. I thought he was younger than Joaquin Silva, but he's actually older. He just doesn't look like it, I guess. He's a really good wrestler. He uses that offensively. His striking has pretty much developed. I think he has pretty good boxing. His speed has good speed overall. Honestly, I think this fight is close. He's been looking really good. I think he's the better striker. I think he's pretty durable, and I think he has different ways he could win this fight. So my pick is going to be close on this one.
Nice, awesome. Yeah, I mean, you and I have both seen both of these fighters. We know who we're getting with Drakkar Close. My big question is if Joaquim Silva is gonna go out there and grapple him. I think in the grappling department, I think he beats Drakkar Close in the grappling department. In the stand up, I think Drakkar Close can outpunch him, can outstrike him. It's the much more cleaner and crisp, you know, puncher. But on the same hand, I think Joaquim Silva, he has more power in his hands than Drakkar Close, and I feel like that's pretty fair to say. Um, I might live entry Joaquim Silva on this one, just to see one round. If within one round he's looking like ass, then I probably won't bet him. But if it turns to tide, then I think Joaquim Silva can beat Drakkar Close, especially if he grapples him. Just because whenever he was grappling Clay Guida, I think that I know we say that Joaquim Silva tends to get to slow down as the fight progresses, but I mean I didn't I know he looked bad, but I didn't think he slowed down that much while grappling heavy against a Clay Guida. And I think like I said, he outgrapples Drakkar Closer. So I'm gonna take excuse me, I'll take Joaquim Silva on this fight. Is that fair? Fair to
And
say?
I could,
Fair,
s-
fair to say.
I think that's a pretty good statement too. That's the only thing. If I could trust Joaquin Silva to go out there and grapple the entire time, I would say you put the money on him all day. It's just the fact that I don't know if he's gonna go out and do that, especially because we know this guy has heavy hands, and
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people fall in love with that power and just the thought of knocking someone out. Um, I think this could be a very competitive fight, especially if Silva goes out there and tries to take him down and grapple him for a good amount of the fight. I think he could take this fight, but I think Close has more ways. I think he's pretty durable, and hopefully he'll be able to take this fight. But hey, our first difference on these picks, I was like, that's a good start.
Yeah, it's a pretty good start. Moving forward, we have Jean Silva against William Gomez. Fighters that we've seen before. Silva haven't really we saw last time when he was out there, but it wasn't really that much of a showing. You know, he beat Weston Wilson pretty quick, pretty fast in the first round. William Gomez, we know he's a striker. Um, he has the striking ability. He KO'd Janis. I don't even know how to say his last name, to be honest. Gamori, I think, right, something like that. He
Good normie or something like that.
Yeah, Gamori, yeah. And then the fight before that, he fought Francis Marshall. I like Francis Marshall a lot, and I think he's a really good takedown artist. But he was 2 for 5 against William Gomez. William Gomez does have good takedown defense, in my opinion. So even if Jean Silva were to try to take him down, which I don't think he does that, regardless, um, he obviously he would win. But I think I want to take the underdog in this one. He's at plus 100. William Gomez has a 4-inch reach advantage. We'll try to pick him from apart. Jean Silva does have that KO power, but I haven't really seen much of Silva for me to trust him as a favorite. So I think I'm gonna take a shot at the underdog in this fight. What do you think?
What I think is, did someone give you my notes or my script? Because that sounded just like mine. Nah. So, like you said, I like what you said about Gene Silva. His debut in the UFC, I don't know if we can even call that a UFC debut because Wilson just looked like a guy that shouldn't even be in the UFC, should never even step foot in the octagon. Gene Silva basically played with him the entire fight. He would just throw a big strike, and Weston would just drop, and he would just toy with them until he got the finish in the second round. But other than that, we really didn't see much of Gene Silva. But like you said about William Gomez, he's coming off that body kick finish of Giannis in round three. I think he's well rounded. I think he can get a submission, a KO, or outwork his opponents. And like you said, his striking style is basically like that in and out. He's gonna stay on the outside. If he uses his grappling, he's going to snatch a submission. He also has good striking defense. He's going to dance, move around, and not stay stationary. I think Gene Silva is the more powerful, but I think Gomez can stay on the outside, avoid the power, and keep the fight technical. And I think he probably takes a decision win on this one. I don't see Gene Silva. I just feel like we haven't seen enough of him. If maybe we would have got him against a better level fighter in his last fight that was actually competitive and not him just goofing around, I think I could put more stock in him, but I would need to see more out of him. So I think William Gomez has fought the better competition, and I think his style just plays more better against a power puncher like Gene Silva. So, like you, I'm going to take the underdog on this one.
Nice, nice, good stuff. Yeah, we can move forward. Oh, jeez. Elvis Runner against Mitabek Orolbe. You go ahead and take this one down because I haven't even formulated an opinion on this one, dude. This one's just messy, in my opinion.
This one is probably most people's main event. I feel like this probably should have been like, what is it? The featured prelim or the opener of the main card, just because this is an amazing fight, if I'm being honest.
Yeah,
We
absolutely.
have like shoot, like I don't even know how it's down this low. I feel like this is like a ton of people watering at the mouth. We got two guys. We got Elvis Brenner and we got Mitabek Orlova. Elvis Brenner is currently 5-0 in his last five fights. Four of them has been finishes. This guy is a dog. He has big and heavy power in his hands. His grappling is good. He's gonna work his opponents to the ground. Even when he was working his opponents to the ground, he'll throw big shots on the inside. This man is a dog. He doesn't care. He will go into a firefight, and I think he's just so exciting. And he's taking on the man straight from the land before time, the land of the dinosaurs, and who is currently on a 7-fight winning streak. He was able to take care of Medic in his last fight via neck crank in the second round. The thing about him is he's a really good grappler, but he will stand with his opponents. And I don't like his striking all that. It's kind of stiff, and he also can get hit, but he has a chin because Medic landed some strong shots against this guy, and he was able to take him. His wrestling and pressure nonstop was what was he was able to use that in the last fight, and his cardio is great. His power looks pretty good, and like you said, this is a tough one. I think Metabic probably could take round one, probably take him down, kind of grind him out. I don't think he's going to finish him. But then I feel like if this round gets into the second round or the third round, I feel like it could turn into a dogfight. I feel like it can swing back and forth if we go later in the fight and Brenner is able to get on the feet and start kind of a war between them. Like you said, I was kind of back and forth. I felt like if this turned into a dogfight, I would say Brenner all day, but I'm gonna ride with the man from Dinosaur Land, Metabic. I just think this guy he looks pretty good. I like this guy. I think his insane pressure, grappling will probably take him to victory, but I wouldn't be surprised if the tides turn and Elvis Brenner is able to get this. I think both of these guys could be top contenders in the future. Um, I was back and forth on this one all day, but I think I'm gonna take Metabic on this one.
Sheesh. All right. Dude, this one's really hard. We both know what we get with Elvis Brenner. Coming from Truth Box, I believe. Have they upped the
Juicy.
vitamins? I need to know if they've upped the vitamins. Because if they've upped that vitamins, then we take Elvis Brenner for sure. Um, we know what we're getting from the mythical man, Oral Bay. Um, yeah, man, this one's tough. I mean, Elvis Brenner by KO is plus 1200, but that's because Oral Bay has never been knocked out, and he can take a fucking punch. Um, Dude, this one's hard, but I think I am gonna ride with Olabe just because he can take a punch, and I don't think Elvis Brenner would be able to submit him, if that makes sense. Just because Midabek Oralbe's defensive grappling is just so good, but I don't think Midabek Oralbe can submit Elvis Brenner either, too. Because I feel like Elvis Brenner would just be too good on the ground as well, and the KO just is not there for me on either guy either. So for me, I'll take Oral Bay just as pick wise, but I'll probably put like $10, like a unit, 2 units or so on split decision on both guys, plus 1400 for Elvis Brenner and Midabek Oral Bay plus 600 as a split decision. Just because I think if it does go the distance, I think they do. One guy or the other ends up winning by split. And just to your point, round one could go to Elvis, or round two can go to Midabek, and then it's just one of those toss up rounds. Toss up round might be round two, and round three Midabek, dominates. Who knows? But I feel like just taken by split decision, either guy is for good money, and I think that's what's gonna happen. It's gonna be a split decision win, either or. Do you think that's pretty fair to say?
I think so. It's just because both these guys are so high level, man. Like they're exciting. They're both like really good, and I feel like the UFC were really cooking and in their bag when they made this fight. I mean, this is probably one of the better fights on this whole entire card. And just know we will be glued to our seats watching this from beginning to end. But I can see a scenario where it goes to a split decision, especially because I feel like Elvis Brenner has that dog where he's not just going to lay down and lose this fight convincingly. I think he's going to go out there and give his all, especially in front of that Brazilian crowd. Uh, I think this is going to be a good one, but I think Midabek by split decision is probably the right play.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Maybe we have to factor in the Brazilian judges too. Oh man.
Yeah, yeah. Some of them might have getting slid some vitamins with some extra money on the side, but who knows?
And also
I
who's
if
judging this fight too.
if I see somebody with the middle name Oliveira or some Brazilian name, I might have to throw everything on Brenner.
Yeah. Or we're gonna see Sal Diamato judging. Excuse me. um.
I'll have to flip the TV, the computer, or something if I see that man on ringside or anything.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, again, it's a hard fight. I don't judge you whatever side you're on. Excuse me. My Midabik Orbe, for him to be a minus 260 favorite too is kind of concerning, because it's like we've seen one fight from him. Yes, it was on short notice, I believe, and yes, he did win, which was crazy. Now at full camp, what do we see? Does he just run over Elvis Brenner and the minus 260 price is justified? Maybe that could happen. Or maybe he just gets flatlined because Elvis Brenner has, all the pills in the world and all the juice, all the Brazilian juice in the world, and he just KOs him, breaks the unbreakable chin. Who knows? Um, but at minus 260, like, I'm gonna back him up this time, but I don't think I'd be laying that money line, if that makes sense. I'll probably do the split on both guys.
Yeah, and that I totally understand that. And the thing is, I don't know. I feel like this line could close, especially if everyone on MMA Twitter or MMA, all the MMA places, because I feel like a lot of them have a lot of stock in Elvis Brennan in this fight. I've been seeing a lot of people saying this guy's the lock of the week, and who knows, maybe they're ahead of the curve or ahead of the game, and we just don't know something they do. But like you said, the money line, I don't know if that's justified just yet. But the split decision or him by decision, I would definitely probably take a stab at that. This is just one of those fights that no matter how many times you think about it, it's you could be swayed either way on this one.
Yeah, absolutely. Moving forward, we have Carolina Kolskiecki, or however you say it, against Yasmin Lucindo, the youngest fighter on the UFC roster. I believe she holds that title, coming in at 2-inch reach advantage for Jasmine Lucindo. Pretty straightforward. I like Yasmin Lucindo just because she's the younger fighter. She's going to be 16 years younger than Carolina. I feel like Carolina is already past her age. Yasmin's gonna come in much faster, probably much stronger, and I'm looking to maybe lay the line on Yasmin Lucinda by KO at plus 350. Wins inside the distance is also at plus 155, so I may add that to the parlay. But yeah, I just think Yasmin Lucinda should be much quicker, should have the power, and I feel like this is one of those fights for Carolina that may be time before like retirement. If that makes any sense. But what do you think?
Yeah, so I agree with you on that. Carolina, her career is kind of weird. She was like on a 5 fight losing streak, and then has been able to turn that around. And it's currently on a 4 fight winning streak. But besides that, she's a pretty good striker. She's fought at a high level for a good amount of time. She has some pretty decent takedown defense, but I think, like you said, Lasmin Lucindo, I think that she's the younger fighter. She is a good grappler. When she takes her opponents down onto the ground, she's going to use her top pressure, look for submission. But I think the game plan all day is probably going to be getting it to the ground. I think Lucindo is going to be the pick just because she is the younger fighter and more dangerous. But if she isn't able to get it to the ground, I feel like Carolina could start lighting her up on the feet. So I would say that would be something to look out for if you start seeing Carolina start to get up. Just because Lucindo's striking isn't the best, but I think she's going to be able to probably control this fight, maybe get a submission in this fight as well. But I think Lucindo is going to take this one.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, something to note as well, because I rewatched the Yasmin Yarigi fight against Yasmin Lucindo, and on the striking department, yeah, Yasmin looked better, but I just feel like Lucindo kept up. Obviously she also kept up with her head or with her face. She used that method of deflecting punches. So the striking department is a little bit concerning, but I don't think like I believe and I think that Yasmin Yarigi or whatever however you say her name is a much stronger hitter than Carolina. So that's why I'm not really concerned on the feet in that regard. So submission is a great point that you said. It is at plus 400, so that could be maybe taking a stab on it. But I believe once inside the distance is probably more of my locks in this card if I'm being quite honest.
And yeah, I definitely agree on that. I just feel like this one is going to be kind of straightforward. I think she'll probably be able to get her down. I think she's able to capable to hang on the feet. And I do like the inside the distance bet. I might throw a little bit on that, or like you said, the submission at plus 400. That also might be something I look at. But I think I'll wait to see how the night's been treating me before I go crazy on any of those.
All right, well, sounds good to me. Uh, Next, you gotta break this one down, man. This is your favorite fighter in Joe Anderson Brito. Go ahead.
Why are you spoiling everything for the viewers? They need to know what we're in store for in this fight. I like this fight. I think this is an exciting fight. We got Jack Shore, who's 4-1 in his last 5 fights. He's coming off that second round submission win. I think this guy is a good grappler. I feel like he's gonna come forward, whether it's using his wrestling or striking. I think he's just gonna come forward throughout the whole fight. All around, he's pretty solid, but he's taken on the former lock of the week, Joe Anderson Brito, 4-1 in his last 5 fights. And he's coming off that beautiful, and I mean beautiful, second round ninja choke of that fraud JSP. I like Brito. I think he's dangerous. I think he can grapple. I think his striking is fast. And when he strikes, he's going to throw bombs. And he can also get takedowns of his own. I feel like Brito's can be taken down by Shore because Shore's does have good wrestling and grappling, but I just think Brito's too dangerous and fast and powerful. I think he could also get back up if taken down. I think Brito is definitely going to be the pick, but the wrestling could be a concern for me. But I like Joe Anderson Brito. I'm going to back up my former lock of the week again.
Oh, jeez. All right. I hate both of these guys. I think both of these guys are frauds. I mean, Brito, I believe the last fight against JSP, he was getting outworked, he was getting outclassed, and then he kind of just snatched a mystery ninja choke from there, just because Johnson JSP basically made a mistake. Jack Shure, on the other hand, last win was against Makwan Amirkhani, who is no longer the UFC and who also only had one round of gas. So, and then the fight before that was the Ricky Simone fight, in which Ricky Simone basically did whatever he wanted with Jack Shore, just because he was the more physical, uh, wrestler or grappler. And before that, I mean, went the distance against Timur Valiev, went the distance against Ludwig Sholanin, and won a split against Hunter Asur, who's no longer in the UFC. Yeah, I guess what it comes down to me here is who's the much bigger fraud, and I feel like Jack Shure is the much bigger fraud in this fight. Do I want to bet Joe Anderson Brito? No, I'm probably gonna skip this fight. But my pick, just to pick, is probably Joe Anderson Brito, just because I don't know. I just feel like he'll have his ways in this fight. He definitely has to win it, before round two, round three, because I don't think he's ever seen a round three except for maybe two fights, and that was earlier in his career. But other than that, I mean, he went the distance against Diego Lopez. Forgot about that, and won. But yeah, I don't know. I think Brito should be better, has faced a better competition, like you said. And Jack Shure is a big fraud, so we're going to fade him in this one. And maybe Brito money line, maybe, if I'm feeling lucky. But yeah, it's a pass for me, betting wise.
So we're gonna call Joe Anderson Brito a fraud, but we're not gonna call JSP as a fraud.
JSP is
That is
not a fraud.
insane.
JSP is not a fraud.
Two fight losing streak.
He won against a David Onama fight, in my opinion. It should have been.
Shows a loss on the record,
It
buddy.
should have been a much close. It should have been a split loss, at most. At most. But yeah, unanimous. It wasn't unanimous. Fuck no, it was not
I
unanimous.
don't know. I think Saul D'Amato would have said a different story.
No, no, absolutely not. But I mean, yeah, it's I guess it's Brito. It's time to back up Brito, but who knows? Um, do you have anything else to add about your favorite fighter?
No, not really. I just think that he's gonna take this one. I wouldn't call him my favorite fighter, but he did show me some good spirit when he took out your boy.
All right. Well, we can move forward. We can go ahead and what is this? The main card now. Yeah, we're on to the main
Yeah, this one
card.
should be the main card.
The opener for the main card, we have Paul Jubair Craig against Kyle Borhalio from the Fighting Nerds. Man, this line is so wide that I mean, it's so wide. Betting purposes, I would never lay minus 700 on Kyle Borhalio. I don't care what you said. He can grapple. He can sort of strike. Um, Paul Craig, he can only grapple, and it's one of those Craig, Craig, Craig Jiu-Jitsu. It's what I want to call it, Jiu-Jitsu. It's not pretty. It's just it kind of works. Um, Kai Borralho, I think Kai Borralho is gonna win this fight. That's my pick. Betting purposes, I might take a stab at Paul Craig by submission just because it's plus 750, man. Like, if Paul Craig wins, that's his only way of winning. It's by submission. I don't think he can touch Caio Borralho. I think Caio Borralho is going to be much much faster than him. He's the younger fighter. He is the smaller fighter in height wise, but Paul Craig doesn't have. He only has like a 1 inch reach advantage, so it's not that much of a difference. That's why I think if it goes down to the ground, yes, Caio Borralho is, he can grapple with you. But since Paul Craig is going to be really big, much bigger than him, in my mind, he's going to be really hard to grapple. So Craig can land one of those weird submissions that he lands and, pull out a win out of his ass. But Caio Borralho is the picking wise, betting wise, may take a stab at Paul Craig by submission. What do you think?
And congratulations, you basically just put in the air that Paul Craig is going to win by a KO at plus 1600. You jinxed all our bets. Congrats. But nah, but honestly, Bear Jew 2-3 in his last 5 fights. I honestly don't think. I think he's very overrated. Like you said, he's a one trick pony. It's just his BJJ that is dangerous. He was able to get Ankalaev, I think, in the last second of their fight. His striking is kind of pitiful, I think. Even though his grappling is really good, his wrestling isn't that good. He's not able to take down these fighters at will. He wants you to come into the ground. I feel like he's just an extra large Ryan Hall. That's what I think of Paul Craig. I just think he's the bigger version of Ryan Hall.
A
Like you
final
said, Kyle
evolution.
Borrallo, exactly. That man has reached his final form in Pokemon. But like you said, Kyle Borrallo, he's on a big winning streak right now. Like you said, he's primary grappler. He's pretty slick with it. Good takedowns, good submissions. He's all right on the feet. He's loose. I think he also has judo. He's looking like a pretty solid prospect right now. Like you said, I'm on the Kyle Borrallo side. I think it's his fight all day, but at minus those odds, I'm not gonna take even a chance at that. But like you said, Paul Craig, if he catches him in a submission, that's probably the only way that he's going to win. So at plus 750, I'm probably going to take a stab at it with you right there. But I do think Paul Craig is overrated. He's been shown to be overrated. Even when he's on the ground, he can be beaten on the ground. I mean, he was beaten up by Brennan Allen, and I think he choked him out in that one too. So nothing special by Jew Bear. I think Kyle Borrallo is going to be the pick all day on this one.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, something to also note, like, dude, Paul Craig plus KO plus 1600. Like, what? What are we doing there too? That I feel like that's also kind of wide. Just because if he does, I feel like if he does get on top of Kyle Borralho, I feel like he can ground and pound him. Not to say that that's what's gonna happen. I mean, I wouldn't take the Andrew Muniz fight because we all know Andrew Muniz like chin is very sus at this point. Um, but any other fight? Let's see. I was trying to look at another fight, but I can't remember. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, and something also to note. I feel like Kyle Borralho also gets outstroken or outstriked by most of his opponents. Cause,
Whoa.
don't you think? Right, like against
I don't know about getting outstroke, but yeah, outstrike. He does get outstrike, but he was able to drop. I think, what's his name, Abus Magomedov in their fight.
yeah, but like against Muradov, he got outstriked. Against Armin Petrosian, who is not that great, he got outstriked. Yeah, he took him down most of the time, and that's 4 for 5. But against most of his opponents, he got outstriked. So that's also maybe it goes to distance by split decision plus 1400 Caio Borralho. Paul Craig plus 2,000, but if he wins unanimous, plus 215 as well for Caio Borralho. So maybe you take that by decision plus 185. That could also be I don't think Caio Borralho gets him out of there. Is what I'm trying to say. I don't think so.
I don't see it happening either. I think if he wins, it's probably a decision.
Yeah, he's like more like a decision machine, which is weird, but we can move forward if you'd
We
like,
can move
because
forward
I
if
don't
you'd
have
like.
anything else to
Yeah,
add.
I don't have anything else to add.
this next fight is the exact opposite of what I think is going to be a decision. So let's get into it.
Yeah, absolutely. We have
Yeah,
Michel
absolutely.
Pereira
We have
against
Michelle Pereira.
Ivo Portiera. I like. Let's see what I like in this fight. Oh shit,
I know
dude.
what I like.
I like the under. The under 1.5 is minus 155. Under 2.5 is minus 375. I think Michel Pereira wins this one. He he has knockout power. He's very loose. I think Portiera, excuse me, yeah, he's coming out of that decision against Robert Brsic. I don't even know how to say his last name, but before that, he was KO'd twice. By Carlos Ulberg and Rodolfo Bellato. In the Rodolfo Bellato, he had Rodolfo Bellato out, but Rodolfo Bellato came back and won because he got tired. I don't really rate Iho Portiera that highly. I think he's kind of a fraud in my opinion. I think he gasses bad too in the later rounds. So I do really like Michel Pereira in this fight. Maybe round two plus 300 Michel Pereira. Hopefully makes it round three plus 750. But yeah, not really much to say in this fight. I mean, Iho Portiera is just he has power, but I feel like his cardio only lasts one round, and that's about it. Then he gets kind of tired and doesn't really have that great of a chin. Uh, can't take shots early, but tends to fade really fast. What do you think?
Yeah, so the scenes whenever Rodolfo came back and beat Ihor Potieria was the craziest thing I've probably ever seen. That was such an enjoyable fight. But looking over it, we got Michel Pereira. He's coming into his new weight division. He looked amazing in the debut. He had an easy last fight. He KO'd the guy in the first round. It
Submitted
looked
him.
like he didn't even take what. Hmm?
Submitted him against
Oh yeah,
Michael
yeah. He hurt
Vorchek.
him, and then whenever he got him on the bottom body, he hurt him, I guess, to the body. And whenever he went down, he got the submission. I forgot about that.
And it might be like that too
But
this fight, to be honest.
yeah, the dude is crazy. Like he has power, he has the speed, and if there's something there like a submission, he'll jump on it right away. And like you said, I really don't like Ehor like that. I think he's kind of fraudulent, like you say. He's a striker. He has somewhat solid power, but the thing I don't like about him is he's very hittable with the way he kind of holds his hands, and I think that's the worst thing you want to do against Michelle Pereira, especially looking good in this weight class. I just think that Michelle is gonna have more speed and more power, and I think he's gonna be there all day. I think Michelle Pereira takes this fight
Yeah.
absolutely easily. And not only that, I feel like the guy in the last fight Ihor Potieria had against I forgot Robert Brzic or something like that.
Hmm.
Um, that dude looked horrible. If I'm being honest, he looked ass. His striking was pretty gross. Every time he would go in for a takedown or something, he would get caught with an uppercut. I just don't think he was that good. I think he's actually. I thought he was a fraud. And it makes me slap my head because I picked that guy, but I think Michelle Pereira looks amazing, and I think he beats him bad, and I don't think that Ehor makes that Shara Magomed fight because I think that was scheduled too.
Yeah, dude. He picked two fights. Yeah. I feel like Ihor is just there to get a paycheck at this point now. Like he's been taking fights non after like he takes the fight against Sharpin June 22nd, and he's expecting to like, be all right tomorrow.
Yeah, that's definitely not happening. Especially if Michelle Pereira goes in there the way he has focus. He hasn't looked like that wild self. Like he still gets wild whenever his opponents kind of rock, but he doesn't look like that guy that was doing flips off the cage and doing all that crazy nonsense. He looks more locked in now, and I just think it's going to be a long night for Ihor in this one.
Yeah, absolutely. We can move forward because not really much else to say on that fight. Oh my goodness,
We
we
got
have
your
one.
favorite fighter now.
Yeah, we have one of your favorite fighters, Anthony Kiddenhart Smith, against Vitor Petrino. Yeah, I think minus 600 price. I don't think that's very justified for Victor Petrino. I do think Victor Petrino is gonna win, but at minus 600, I don't think I would lay that betting purposes. Pick wise, Victor Petrino just because he has the power, and Anthony Smith just keeps looking horrible, day in and day out. Um, I do think Vitor Petrino wins. One thing also to notice, Anthony Smith, yeah, he's been getting worse and worse, but I think he can still take a few shots in which Vitor Petrino can take this win via round two, maybe round three. Because I mean, what was it? Anthony Smith's last fight against Khalil Roundtree, yeah, he got knocked out in round three, but I feel like Khalil Rountree is a much stronger or hitter than Vito Petrino, as well as I do think that Khalil Rountree does work the body, all of it from the kicks all the way to the straight jabs, throwing the kick up, throwing the kick, calf kicking. Vito Petrino will do that. Will do the kicks, the calf kicks and stuff, but I don't think he really works the body that much. He just kind of headhunts. So, like I said, if I'm betting Vito Petrino, probably round two, round three. I feel like that's pretty safe to say, and also because Anthony Smith, while he may be older and older and older and getting worse and worse, I feel like his chin is kind of still there. That can take a little bit of a punishment round one, round two, and yeah, then he dies round three. That's what I think. What do you think?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think sometimes he's too strong for his own good because he will take a beating in these fights. Like you said, in that Khalil Roundtree, he was actually, you know, Khalil fights like the rent is due, they say. And he fought like the rent was due that night. Not only that, even when Anthony Smith fought Ryan Spann in a split decision win, he got lit up in that fight too. He took some serious damage in that fight. I just feel like he's 35 years old. He's been fighting for years now, and I think it's time for him to retire. He's super tough, and I think that's to his own detriment. Like you said, I think he can survive around. He does kind of still have a chin, and I think he can fight some fighters, but I don't think he's top level anymore. I think it's kind of like feeding the old dog to the new dog now. And I think he just needs to move on to the next step of his life with being an analyst for the UFC and kind of taking care of his health at this point. But like you said, Petrino, he's coming off that win against Tyson Pedro. He has good cardio. He has power in that left hook. His grappling is starting to improve. He's been getting more takedowns, and his takedown defense is kind of okay. But I feel like Victor Petrino probably puts Anthony Smith out.
Yeah,
Probably round two, round three. I would expect something like that because, like you said, Anthony Smith, even though he's taking these beatings so far, it's like he can still take a punch. I mean, he's taken some bad shots from in these last couple of fights, and he still somehow stays in. This man will go out on his shield, and I just think Petrino is the smart pick on that. Like you said, that line is not justified, especially for. I think this is kind of a step up in competition for him to give him a higher ranked fighter. I don't think that line is justified at all. But like you said, you could probably throw some money on him to get this done in round two or round three. And I think what is it? Round two TKOs plus 475 or round threes plus 700. Those might be something to take a stab at. I don't think he submits Anthony Smith. I think Anthony Smith does have high level grappling, and I don't think Victor Petrino is able to do all that. But I think he can get him out in the second or third round. But Anthony Smith, I think he should just hang it up after this one. I don't know what's keeping him away from retiring, but I hope he doesn't think I'm attacking his family.
yeah. I mean, he wants the 20 loss on his record. I mean, he's creeping into 19 losses now. About to be 20. That's kind of bad, Anthony. So, but yeah, just like you stated, the chin still keeps up. And if Anthony's, because Anthony Smith, he's always been okay at everything. Yeah, he was never a big power puncher. He can always take a hit. That's for sure. Grappling wise, in his younger days, maybe he was a little bit more grappling, like offensive grappling, that much better, and he could take his opponents a little bit at a more higher clip rate or success rate. At this point in time, he can't really do that anymore, just because he's a little bit geriatric, in my opinion. So just because of all the wars that he's been in, but he can still take a hit. So Vito Petrino round two, round three, we're gonna book that one and move on to the co-main event. On co-main event, we have Jonathan Martinez against the King of Rio, Jose Aldo. You can go ahead and break this one down, Ed.
All right. We got Jonathan Martinez. He's currently on a six-fight winning streak. He's coming off that second round finish of Adrian Yanez via leg kick. It's not something he does. It's not something like he's TKOing the shit out of everybody by leg kicks. But he is well rounded. He's very technical, throws nice kicks. He usually doesn't wrestle or anything like that. But he has looked pretty good. This guy does look kind of like a prospect that's coming up. and he's taking on the King of Rio. The King of Rio is back. We got Jose Aldo back. I don't know if it's just for this one last fight and then off back to boxing or whatever he wants to do. But like we said, this guy is a former featherweight champ, one of the greatest of all time. Definitely deserves a better send off this time because the last time he fought, I think he was taking on Marab, and it was just basically getting clinched against the fence. Marab couldn't even take him down, but I felt like that was a sad way to go out. But I feel like this could be a better way, especially in front of that home crowd. I mean, the scenes if Jose Aldo gets a finish in Brazil will be insane. But overall, he has power. He has hands. Good accurate shots. His leg kicks used to be vicious. We all know the legendary story of what he did to Dominic. Who was it? Was it Dominic Cruz? No. Uriah Faber. That's what it was, I think. And not only that, I just feel like I just don't like the fact that he's been gone for 2 years and he's way older now. Inactivity doesn't help really, and he's been off boxing. So I mean, he's done pretty well in boxing, but this one's tough. I just feel like Martinez is probably going to be the pick. I just feel like he's younger, more active, and I think he's coming into his own currently. And Jose Aldo, being 37, he's probably 40, 45, because we know the records in Brazil aren't the best over there. But Martinez is the pick. But if we get to see Jose Aldo get the win in Rio, I think that would be amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think just like you stated, I mean, Jose Aldo is probably one of the best takedown defense artists there is out there, and I mean Jonathan Martinez is not known for taking anyone down, regardless. So these boys are gonna stand up and bang. Um, I'm gonna take Jonathan Martinez as a pick. Betting purposes, might take a wager on both Martinez and Jose Aldo to win by split decision, just because we have a mixed martial artist in Jonathan Martinez that is can do the TK leg TKO, but that's not something that he's known for. But he does throw a lot of leg kicks, while Jose Aldo is legendary for throwing the hardest kicks out there. So we have two predominant strikers at this point, at this age of their career, that are going to stand and bang. So yes, the crowd and the noise is going to play a factor when Jose Aldo lands those big shots, and that may sway some judges to give a round or two to Jose Aldo. Same thing with Jonathan Martinez. If he starts piecing him up, which I mean he could, he may not, and that may swing some rounds towards him. I don't think either of these fighters knock each other out, in my opinion, just because Jose Aldo is just extremely durable, and we also haven't seen Jose Aldo in a while, and I don't think he is known to. He usually goes to the decisions for most of his fights. That's why uh, by KOs at plus 700, by submission is at 2,500 because Jose Aldo has one submission win in his career, I believe. So yeah, they're not gonna grapple. They're gonna stand and bang, and it's gonna be one of those fights. It's gonna be super close while you're watching the TV, while you're watching live in Rio, wherever you may be at, and they might go to judges' scorecard, and we might have split decision wins by either Jonathan Martinez or Jose Aldo. I'm picking Jonathan Martinez, like I said, just for pick wise, betting purposes. Might put a unit or two on each of those. Because Martinez by split plus 600, Jose Aldo by split plus 700. I think those are pretty good odds on both sides. Pretty fair to say.
I would say so. But I think as much as I'm happy to see Jose Aldo back, I wish they would have stacked probably this card a little bit more. It feels underwhelming, but hey, I'm gonna be excited and watching the entire time. But how great would it be if these two guys just have a Holloway versus Gaethje moment and one of them gets slept at the end? I think that would be crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can go ahead and move forward to the main event. I guess, yeah, let's just bring it in. Main event time.
All right.
Alexander the Cannibal Pantoja against Steve Astroboy Erceg. We know who Pantoja is. We kind of know who Erceg is. Um, Last fight, Erceg, the fight that got him the title shot was against Matt Schnell. Matt Schnell, unfortunately, would probably be one of the best in the world if he only had a chin, because he's pretty great all around. He has power. Steve Erceg did knock him out. That said, Steve Erceg did get kind of rocked when Matt Schnell did land. Alexandre Pantoja did get kind of rocked when a younger Matt Schnell fought him as well. So both of these fighters could get kind of knocked. I favor Alexandre Pantoja a little bit on the feet, on the grappling. Pantoja is a monster, can take your back, which is great. I might pick Alexandre Pantoja by submission in this fight, to be honest, just because Steve Erceg is a little bit unknown on the ground, in my opinion. Um, I mean, I did watch the Alexander Costa fight. Neither of the fighters were taking each other out, taking each other down. I mean, Costa was 1 for 6, Erceg was 1 for 8. So which makes me say that when they tried it, they were too good at the takedown defense, so they just started to trade and bang on the feet. Against the Dovrak fight, I haven't rewatched that fight, but he was 3 for 4. Steve Erceg was, and yeah, but I just think Pantoja is probably the best back taker in at least in the 125-pound division. His grappling is just so smooth. It's kind of reminds me how Oliveira takes the back or Oliveira submits people. And I think if Pantoja does get in trouble on the feet and Erceg, kind of like stunts him on the feet, I feel like he's gonna look to grapple, and I think Pantoja, in my opinion, has the bigger grappling edge in this fight. Um, he also starts very fast. Pantoja does, so he might drown him. I would say the under 3.5, maybe no, the under 4.5. Excuse me, is a good play at -130. I do think Pantoja gets him out of there, in my opinion. But yeah, that's my breakdown on that fight. What do you think on the main event?
So, just starting off, Steve Erceg did not get this fight because of his performance against Matt Snow. He got this fight because Mohamed Mokaev gave us one of the boringest fights against Alex Perez that we've seen all year. So, I think that's what got him more the fight. But looking over this, I think this fight was basically put together because I think it's the only fight at flyweight that makes sense currently. Just because Manel Cop missed weight,
Because
hasn't
he's
been
fat.
seen. Yeah, too busy eating too much. A lot of the guys in the top rankings, Pantoja's already beat, and Erceg has put on some great performances, even in 3 fights in the UFC. He's looked really good. I like this kid. I think he will stand in the pocket. He's shown that he's not afraid to engage, that he will throw down. He's going to throw volume. He'll even blast some leg kicks in there. And he will get a submission if he needs to. I don't think he's the best grappler in the world. Not really, like you said, this guy's kind of unknown. He's kind of like a unicorn. Bro came out of nowhere and got shot right to the top. But I think this could be a competitive fight, but he's taking off Pantoja. 5-0 in his last 5 fights. He came off that great win against Brandon Royval. And Pantoja, when he fights, he is on the gas, like you said, from the beginning to end. This guy is going to move forward. He's going to throw crazy bombs. He's going to give damage. He's going to use his grappling. If he gets his grappling going, he's going to control his opponents on the ground. And like you said, one of the best back takers in the UFC. It's like butter. He just like slices to take the back. And I feel like people don't appreciate this man, and I think it's sad because he's really exciting and all around. I think he's well rounded. I think Erceg is really good, and I don't know. This gives me the vibes that he could get the upset, but I just feel like Pantoja to beat him at this point. I feel like you have to be a complete fighter to get it done, just because he's looked great and he's overcome adversity in his fights. At times he looks like he's fading, and this man just kicks it into the next gear. And I think this is probably going to be a showing out party for him. And I feel like he'll be able to get it done. But if he does want to stand in the middle and just stand and bang with Erceg, I wouldn't recommend that because that would be the one way I could see him possibly throwing this fight. But other than that, I feel like Pantoja could get a submission in this fight. And what is he at by submission? Where is he?
Plus
Plus
300.
300, not bad. might take a stab at that, but I think Pantoja is going to get this done. Just wish they would have stacked the card a little bit more, but I'm excited for this fight. I think it's a pretty good fight considering of kind of how the weight class is. I like the flyweights, but just not really contenders right now that are clear cut in front of the pack.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just to note, yes, Erceg has beat some pretty good competition in the UFC, like David Dobrik. I think he's pretty good. Alexandre Costa, who's gonna fight earlier, is pretty good as well. Like I said, the Matt Schnell fight, Matt Schnell doesn't have a chin at this point, so never did, to be honest. But now, at later stages of his career, definitely does not have a chin. And then the fight before the Dovrak fight, he fought a Suichiro Hirai, who was 4-1 at the time he fought Steve Erceg, and he is now 4-4. So not the best competition if you look at it. He fought a guy that was 7-5 when he was 7-1. Before that, he was 6-1, and he fought a guy that was 2-0. And even before that, he fought the most famous person, Shannon Appendicitis Ross, in which he choked him out. And we both know how good Shannon Ross is. He's not. So, like I said, not the best level of competition beforehand. Did he get lucky and get the right matches in his favor? Maybe. It was all unanimous decisions too against Dovrak, against Costa. Schnell is the only person he KO'd, but I mean, we could have saw that coming from a mile away. I like Pantoja just because he's the champ, man. He's the guy to beat. He's beat everyone. Steve Erceg's just gonna be another name on his list, and then we can move forward. So that being said, Pantoja by submission, I might take a stab, and I'm definitely gonna take a stab at the under 4.5. Just because as well, if Erceg does manage to get to the 4 rounds, the fifth round or whatever, Pantoja, if you do push a pace, Pantoja pushes a crazy pace, but against the Royval fight, in those later rounds, he was redlining pretty bad. He did not look that great cardio wise. That could have been attributed to him starting really quick, like he always does. Does he smoke Steve Erceg pretty quick? Does Steve Erceg put on a pace? Those are all questions. How is Erceg gonna look like in the championship rounds? Those are all questions that are yet to be determined. And for that reason, I think Pantoja should get the dub, and that's why my pick is Pantoja.
So now it is the time where we give out a lock of the week parlay to all our viewers. So if you're ready, let's get it.
All right, give me a second. You can go ahead and let me cook something up.
Okay, so mine is a three-leg parlay, pretty straightforward. For the first leg, we're gonna take Michelle Pereira wins by KO, TKO, or DQ at minus 135, and then you're gonna add Jonathan Martinez to that money line and Pantoja money line, and you're looking at a plus 353 parlay. I think that has good odds. I think Michelle Pereira could probably smoke or probably is going to smoke Ihor Pateria. I think Jonathan Martinez and Pantoja get it done. But let's say you want to change it up. Maybe you don't think, maybe Michelle Pereira does what he does last fight and gets the knockdown and jumps straight on the submission. So you can throw that down as well. And you could have Michelle Pereira by submission, Jonathan Martinez money line, and Alejandre Pantoja money line at plus 1,071.
Jesus. All right. I will do. I won't do that. That's first. That's crazy. But what I would do is give me 1 second. Which one was to fight? That was like plus 155. 1 second. Let's see. No, that's plus. There was one fight that I was like inside the distance is 155, and you were like, "Yeah, that looks good." What fight was that?
Oh, shit. Uh, was it the? It's not that one.
Dude, there was one fight
Was
I
it
saw. Huh?
Let me check. Hold on. Let me see. I know what you're talking about because there was one that I was like, dude, that sounds like a pretty good play.
Yeah, dude. I can't find it.
Look at you fumbling the plays.
I know, dude. It wasn't Arlobay because that's plus 175. Was it? No, dude. What?
I don't
Which
think
one?
so.
Oh man, if I can find that, that would definitely be my play. But I have two legs so far, just because I can't find that play that I was like, dude, that's a lock right there. Let's see. It would be Alexandre Costa. It probably was Alexandre Costa inside the distance, to be honest. But we'll go with Alexandre Costa money line. Alexandre Pantoja money line. That's a plus 164. And then you can throw in Michelle Pereira, maybe inside the distance at minus 285. That's a plus 257 parlay, three legger. Not the greatest in my opinion, not the best, but probably one that probably hits at a higher rate than most in my I think.
Especially because this is one of those cards that I think it's gonna be kind of tricky to find some good value on here, especially
Yeah, I'm gonna have to rewatch this episode and see where the plus 155 play was, cause sheesh.
for real. That's one we couldn't pass up.
Yeah, dude. Was it? It wasn't Silva, cause we definitely didn't. We're like, no, that's we disagreed on that fight, but and we picked Rufy, right? Rufy's minus
Yeah,
125. Yeah, no, I don't know which one it was. It might be Bonfim. Was it Bonfim inside the distance? No, that's a even. I don't know which fight it was. I just know it was one of the earlier ones, and it wasn't Gomis either, because Gomis inside the distance is plus 450. So I don't know which one it was, to be honest. It might have been.
it'll be fine.
Oh, oh, I see it. I think it was Yasmin Lucindo inside the distance.
Oh yeah, I think that one could have been it.
Plus 155. So Costa money
Yeah,
line, Pantoja money line, and Lucindo inside the distance is plus 573. Excuse me. So $200 wins you 1146.87. That's
sheesh.
I think that's a pretty good parlay in my opinion.
I think so.
But if you want to get crazy, I think you go Costa submission. This is my crazy parlay. Costa submission, and you go the under 4.5 in the main event, and then maybe you add in. Let's see who you want to add in. You add in. Let's see. I have one more. Maybe you add in. Mm, oh, William Gomez money line. That's at plus 2,200. So $200 wins you $4,400.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
If that one hit, we definitely going somewhere.
We're going to
I don't know
Vegas.
where, but
But yeah, I think it's a really
throw it all on red.
it's a much better card than, what we've been having after UFC 300. We had the Paris main event, which wasn't really that bad either. Um I think it was an okay card. The next one is just disgusting, dude.
Don't even remind everyone.
Lures
I was
against
like,
Nascimento.
we take it one leg at a time, buddy. One leg at a time.
But yeah, I think that should be it from us. Once again, guys, follow us on the X. I am at FTC Fobs. My boy is at FTC Ed 1 with the number 1, of course. Tweet at us, message us, discuss with us, shout us out. I don't care. Share the episode with your mom, your grandma, your aunt, your uncle. Like, subscribe, repost it, comment, whatever makes us get more engagement. Just do it, please. Just so us, just
And
so we
hit that
can,
bell.
yeah, just so we can grow. We can grow the channel, grow the community, and yeah, I mean, I do like to take a listen at other people's takes as well, just because whatever opinion you're at, just have an opinion. That's it, you know?
Yeah, and it doesn't matter what you think, as long as everyone has their own opinion. You can like these fighters, you can like different fighters, but I just think growing the sport of mixed martial arts and enjoying it is something that I love to do. I know you enjoy it as well, and if we can reach out to anybody out there, I feel like it would be great. kind of grow this channel and see where we can take it. Not only that, our deepest condolences to Francis Ngannou, who just recently lost a son. I know that's probably very tough. Prayers and thoughts go out to his family and everything. I hope that he's dealing with that okay. Such a humble, nice guy that
Has
sucks has
made
to
it
go through this,
has made it through
but
all the hardships,
yeah,
and this happened. So, yeah, we're thinking about you, Ngannou. Hope everything's fine. Uh, yeah, go ahead, break down the addiction too while you're at it.
yeah. Okay, so everybody out there, if you're over there losing your mortgage, your girlfriend's about to leave you because you're going broke, spending all your money on gambling, I think it's time that you give a call to the National Gambling Hotline at 1-800-GAMBLER. Their 24/7 hotline that offers totally anonymous help. They'll provide you information, educate you about gambling problems, its signs, symptoms, and everything else. It's not non-masculine to ask for help. Everyone needs help at some point. I know I've needed help on so many different things. Reach out if you need it. If you don't, just spend what you can lose and just enjoy these fights. And I'm excited for this weekend. I know it's not the best UFC pay per view, but after UFC 300, I mean, what could we expect? We were spoiled with that one, so I think we can deal with this one.
Yeah, absolutely. Just like you said. Um, if you are betting, best of luck, guys. Bet what you can lose, like it stated before. Have a good one. Shout us out. Disagree, agree with us. Don't care. Just let's have a friendly discussion. That's all we want, to be honest. Because you can open up my eyes to maybe a different take. Who knows? Maybe your opinion's still wrong. Maybe. But yeah, that's about it from us. Take care, guys. Hope you have a good one, and peace.
Peace out, guys.